Hello, everybody. Scott Golden here with the Raw Report for the 26th of April 2021. This show continues to be abysmal. I honestly got more out of the AEW Dark Elevation show than this show, and they had a bunch of squash matches. So this should show you my overall view of this. So the show goes about an hour with no wrestling in the middle here. T-Bar and Maze do a pre-match promo making it clear they're not affiliated with anyone anymore. They are also interested in Extinction. They're not going. They are still going by the same names of Mace and T-Bar, but do not have the masks anymore. Strowman confronts Drew McIntyre in the gorilla position, asking who he thinks he was, saving him last week. McIntyre said he didn't ask for any help. Strowman calls him kid, which this offends him. Strowman says he could beat both guys alone. Strowman does, in fact, defeat Mason T-Bar by DQ in just under 3 minutes. Supposed to be a tag match. Strowman enters, demands they start the match by himself. Strowman fights off both guys as long as he could, but they double team him. This leads to a disqualification because one guy wasn't legal. We have enforced rules some weeks and don't others. How wonderful. McIntyre runs in to make the save, clears the ring. McIntyre asks for a thank you, and Strowman calls him a funny guy. Mason T-Bar defeat Braun Strowman and Drew McIntyre via countout. Apparently the match is restarted. Strowman makes a hot tag. Offense is cut off and sends him shoulder first into the post. McIntyre tags himself back in. T-Bar hits a future shock DDT. Mace breaks up the cover. Strowman charges around the ring. T-Bar ducks. McIntyre clothesline, and McIntyre knocks down Strowman by mistake. T-Bar slips into the ring for the 10 count, and the team wins by countout. McIntyre barely misses getting back into the ring on time. This finish is useless. Anyway, so Strowman lays out McIntyre with a power slam. Post-match, McIntyre gets to his feet, and Strowman gets on the ramp. Adnan Virk was acting overly incited. He's freaking out with all that Strowman is doing, which is completely pointless, and he sounds like a newbie. Anyway, McIntyre approaches Pierce in his office. He wants a match with Strowman tonight. Pierce accepts. McIntyre then is finished. Miz TV, Morrison's back with The Miz. They're joined by Elias and Riker. Miz plugs his feature on the network and his reality show before taking credit for Bad Bunny's success, which the Bad Bunny thing's a couple weeks old now, and nobody cared about it to begin with, so why take credit for something that nobody cares about in the first place? Miz says the four of them had a concert for us. Four men, including Riker, do some foolish music. Lights go out. Damian Priest interrupts. Priest said he wants to witness this in person, just as he'd be able to witness Bad Bunny beat The Miz at WrestleMania, and Priest has a surprise for them. New Day enters. Woods carries an instrument box, but there's no instruments in it. Instead, he filled it with rotten tomatoes. Priest, Woods, and Kingston chuck tomatoes at the heels. The heels take bumps for this before leaving the ring. They had to sell like they're getting completely drenched and goofy. Anyway, 6-man tag match. Kingston, Woods, and Damian Priest defeated Miz, Elias, and Riker with Morrison in nearly 17 minutes. Yes, a match of this magnitude lasts nearly 17 minutes on a show that has virtually no wrestling. Anyhow, good guys are in control. Elias takes down Kingston from the top to the outside. Miz sends him up over the break. Miz distracts the referee. Morrison rubs a tomato in Kingston's face, which is just goofy. Anyway, they work over Kingston for quite a while. Um, he ducks a bunch of kicks, hits the SOS. Priest makes a hot tag, comes in with a series of kicks himself on Riker before taking down Elias with a clothesline. And Priest hits a spinning kick off the top rope. Miz breaks up the cover. Priest gives him a broken arrow before tagging in Woods. Woods then comes from the top and immediately knocked down with a jumping knee by Elias for a near fall. Woods and Priest hits Riker as Kingston nails Riker with a missile dropkick. Priest then wipes out Miz and Morrison with a dive. Kingston yanks Elias out of the ring, returns the favor from earlier. Woods then rolls up Riker for a win, and then Sonya Deville comes out. She's walking through the arena, and Charlotte Flair enters. Announcers acknowledge Charlotte's been suspended. And then we move into the second hour. Sonya and Charlotte are in a segment. Deville introduces Charlotte as as one of the referees, when she attacked last week. They actually give the referee a name for a minute. They show a replay. Charlotte said she wants to apologize to WWE management and the fans and the referee for her childish behaviors. Her instincts took over. She apologizes for manhandling the referee. She didn't see Rhea Ripley's interference, and Charlotte would have won the match if not for him. Deville lifts the suspension. She announces Charlotte would compete tonight, and the referee would get another chance to referee her match. Charlotte wants an apology from the referee because he admits it's his mistake. He hesitates but apologizes, and Charlotte says good boy. He holds the rope open for her so she could exit the ring, and Charlotte and Deville leave together. Pierce is waiting for them in Gorilla, he announced, and is annoyed that Deville, when she planned on telling him all of what she had planned, she said she's sorry and didn't accept the apology because he didn't believe her. And after the break, Pierce is on the phone with someone complaining about Deville until interference by Strowman. Strowman was fine with wrestling McIntyre and reminds Pierce that Randy Orton was the one who got pinned in the number one contenders match. Strowman said that he'd be added to the title match at WrestleMania Backlash, and he said that he beat McIntyre tonight. Strowman mocks and asks Pierce if he had to check with Deville to make it official. Pierce agrees to the stipulation. Strowman wins tonight. He will get a triple threat match at Backlash. This is just stupid. Sheamus in another promo segment. Sheamus is in street clothes. He enters. He offers an open challenge. He said that he attacked Carrillo before the match could start last week because Carrillo didn't belong in the ring with him. He asks what's next. He makes it clear the U.S. title's not on the line. Carrillo enters. Sheamus makes fun of him before hitting him with a cheap shot. Sheamus turns his back on Carrillo and gets attacked. Kevin Patrick approaches Bobby Lashley after the issues between Carrillo and Sheamus are settled. Nothing is really there. Sheamus gets shown up, and the segment is awful. Patrick approaches Bobby Lashley and MVP in the back. He asked about Strowman. MVP blows him off and said he has a scoop, but he wouldn't tell Patrick what it was. They plug the biography, which is a Randy Savage biography. Sarah interviews Rhea Ripley in the back and didn't believe the apology from Charlotte. Happy to know she got fined $100,000. Wow, she's making real big money. Anyway, Ripley knew her path would cross with Charlotte at some point, but she's focused on her match tonight. Time for another one of these talking segments. Lashley and MVP are out. Lashley said he did exactly what he said he was going to do. He walked out of WrestleMania as champion. He makes McIntyre pass out. He holds the belt high, and he said he's happy that he was the champion with the first time anybody was in the building or in a building for the first time in a year. He tosses McIntyre aside, but McIntyre won't go away. Lashley notes that the match could suddenly become a triple threat. MVP could understand why the company would treat their champion like this. MVP said any decision involving Lashley should go through the champ first. Lashley called out the decision as disrespectful. MVP notes that Lashley could lose the title without getting pinned. Lashley said that he could beat both men, and no one's taken the title from him after it took him 16 years to get it. Lashley planned on walking out of Backlash champion. Lashley does cut a good promo, but it's too little too late. And honestly, after 16 years, who cares about the guy at this point? We're talking. Patrick interviews Riddle in the back. He makes some completely irrelevant jokes before being interrupted by Randy Orton. Orton wasn't sure what planet he's from. Riddle quickly started to say that he's from Earth. Orton doesn't believe. Orton tells him not to interrupt. He said he'd have nothing in common with Riddle. And Riddle said that they were both from Earth. Orton admits he underestimated Riddle last week. He also admitted that RK Bro was a catchy name. He said they had a tag match tonight if Riddle wanted Riddle accepted to be his partner. He said he wanted them to get matching snakeskin Speedos. Orton motioned for him to stop talking. Orton says tonight was just an audition. They could talk after the match if it went well. Riddle acted like a child, and he's excited to be tagging with Orton. Riddle looks like a complete goof here, but this show is, honestly, I've seen better indie shows. I've been on better indie shows than this. Reginald, Nia Jackson, Shayna Baszler stood shoulder to shoulder in the back for another of the wonderful talking segments. Some guy handles Jax a bouquet of flowers. She talked sweet and thanked Reginald. Reginald didn't buy any of this, and Angel Garza enters the frame. He wished her luck tonight and kissed her, and Jax is flattered by all of this. She said that she and Reginald walked through the back and clobbers everything. MVP approaches Strowman in the back. Strowman said that if Lashley had something to say to him, he should say it to his face. Strowman said when he beats McIntyre tonight, then there's nothing that could stop him from becoming champion at WrestleMania Backlash. What a horrible idea that would be. I'm getting tired, and I'm just reading my notes from this show. I can't believe I watched 3 hours of this trash. Anyway, Randy Orton and Riddle defeated Cedric Alexander and Shelton Benjamin 5.5 minutes. First match of the second hour start 47 minutes into the hour, 54 minutes between wrestling segments. But what do we care? This is a vaudeville show. Anyway, Alexander and Benjamin work over Riddle for a few minutes. Riddle hits a knee strike, tags Orton, and Orton gives Benjamin a power slam, which was good looking, sets up for the RKO. Riddle communicates that Alexander's trying to attack. Orton gave Alexander the RKO. Orton sets up Benjamin for the draping DDT. Riddle asks for the tag. Orton tags him in before hitting the DDT. Riddle follows up with a floating bro for the pinfall win. Riddle wanted to hug Orton. Orton didn't want one. Orton left. Riddle celebrates. And apparently we're going to see these two odd couple people tag with each other because it amuses a 75-year-old man. Third hour, women's tag team, 6-woman tag team match. Rhea Ripley and Jackson Baszler with Reginald defeats Asuka, Naomi, and Lana in 11.5 minutes. This was about 7 minutes too long. Asuka is down for a moment. Ripley tags herself in. Asuka comes back, fights back pretty aggressively. Nails some strikes. Naomi and Lana tag each other in to team up on Ripley. Lana uses a roll-up for near fall. Ripley cuts her off with a headbutt. Follows up with a vertical suplex. Ripley works over Lana. Rose and Brooks are out. Baszler marches towards them, but they chuck water at her. Jax tries to go after them. She slips on the water. She falls. Jax rolls out, and Reginald tries to help her up. Commercial. This is just So poorly booked. Anyway, Baszler works over Lana until Lana tags in Asuka, who hits Baszler with a running hip attack and kicks Baszler. Comes right back with a knee to the face. Jax follows up with a scoop slam and elbow drop for a near fall. Jax then hits a Samoan drop. Asuka comes back with strikes before tagging in Naomi. Naomi uses disaster kick, but Baszler breaks up the cover. Original distracts Naomi, allowing Jax to attack her. Ripley tags in, slams Naomi. Asuka breaks up the cover. Ripley manages to get rid of her. Ripley gives Naomi Riptide. Lana has made a blind tag. Lana hits a crossbody for a near fall. Gets a crucifix, but Ripley comes up with a Riptide. Ripley tags in Jax, who then hits a leg drop for the pinfall win. Champions posed with the belts, and absolutely nobody cared. In the back, Rose and Brooks bragged about their prank. DeVille approached them and called them unprofessional. DeVille isn't surprised by Rose's actions, considering her laughable taste. DeVille and Rose said Rose would be Charlotte's opponent tonight. Anyway, so Alexa's Playground is another talking segment. We're heavy on those tonight. Bliss has a video played, which is meant to be a scene, serene and peaceful. She speaks softly over the video. Lily the doll pops up, screams for the purposes of making everybody jump. It didn't work for most people. Bliss laughs and says Lily made her do it. She giggles and swings on her swing set, and this is just unadulterated wrestling death. Anyway, so Charlotte Flair defeats Mandy Rose in 4.25 minutes, just about 4:20. Anyway, Graves no longer thinks Rose is the greatest woman in the world. Rose gets a little bit of offense, but not nearly as much as Charlotte. Charlotte gets distracted by Brooke. Rose sends Charlotte into the corner, and she almost collides with the referee. They avoid it. Charlotte boots Rose for a near fall, and Charlotte admonishes him for the slow count. Rose uses Schoolboy for a 2, followed with a knee strike for another 2. Charlotte comes back with a natural selection for the pinfall win. Charlotte makes a hold for the ropes again. Anyway, McIntyre tells Patrick that Strowman is not going to screw things up for him. And tonight ends with Claymore kick. Braun Strowman and Drew McIntyre in your main event, which just makes me cringe because, well, McIntyre should be used better. He's the best thing they have going in the company. Anyway, they go almost 13 and a half minutes. Strowman runs around the ring 2 minutes into the contest, but Lashley's music hits, so he stops because, well, music scares everybody. And then go to the break. Lashley and MVP enters, and McIntyre and Strowman just stand there and look like dummies. Strowman's in control. McIntyre fights back, hits an impressive belly-to-belly suplex. McIntyre follows with a neckbreaker for near fall. It's a Claymore, but Strowman caught him with a powerbomb for near fall. McIntyre headbutted Strowman and hits a spinebuster for a near fall. They battle at the ropes. Strowman hits a superplex for a near fall. Strowman grabs McIntyre by the head and says, I'm a monster, and then begins to club at the man, so he needs to tell him this. You can't tell by looking. Anyway, Strowman sets a power slam, but Lashley distracts the referee, and MVP goes after him. McIntyre hits a future shock DDT. McIntyre sets up Claymore, but he has to fend off T-Bar and Mace. Distraction allows Strowman to hit the power slam for the pinfall win. Lashley, McIntyre, and Strowman is a three-way at Backlash, and this show is flatter than the desert in the middle of May. Anyway, I went through this in about 17 minutes. At least you didn't have to sit through it for 3 hours. In any event, until next time, keep your feet on the ground, your mind in the moment. Until next time, everybody.